Welcome to today's podcast, where we are helping Americans understand and master real estate investing, business and personal credit, and the financial matrix, how each one affects you, and how to leverage your Trinity wealth and take control of your economic independence. Today, we're actually going to speak about leveraging the four currencies, and I cannot wait for Joanna to break down these four different currencies that we have. A lot of people think of currency as just money, but we've discovered over the last couple of years, when we really started getting into studying all this stuff, that there's more than one currency in this world.
Absolutely. Thank you, Becky. Becky Eastup Noble, the credit coach queen here, and Joanna Wright, the real estate wealth maven, here on the Trinity podcast. It is our mission, as Becky was saying, to help save families out there, or save America one family at a time, right? Like that's our real mission there. And those are our modalities that we go through. So that she mentioned, real estate, business credit, and the financial matrix. But how, like, let's throw some how in there, right? And that's where, I learned about the four currencies probably about, I'm dating myself, like over 10 years ago. I'll just stick with that. But applying them was a whole nother story, right? Applying them was a whole nother story. And I'm going to get into it in a second here. So just hang with me a minute. But what I've learned is we tend to learn a lot, but we don't actually apply. And so it took me years before I actually applied the four currencies. And the very first one I'm going to talk about is money. And that one seems almost obvious, right? It seems almost obvious that that's currency. And but how do you leverage it, right? So some people don't have money and they're like, well, I can't do anything because I don't have money. And then there's some people that go, well, I have money, but I don't know what to do with it, right? Believe it or not, there's people that have problems knowing what to do with money. And it's the smart ones that go, I don't just want to waste it. I want my money to make money. How do I do that? And that's our ideal client right there, is someone who's ready to make money with their money, right? And so they get to leverage us, right? If you're looking to move to the next level in financial fitness, real estate, or business credit, any of those, leveraging money is the number one thing that we talk about. Becky, what is your take on, like, the very first thing that they should do to leverage their money?
Save it. I'm just kidding. Study. Really increasing your knowledge when it comes to money, I think, is the very first thing that everybody should do. And the reason that I think that is because I've messed it up a lot. And so I don't know if you've listened to any of our other podcasts, but I started out in real estate investing in my early 20s, and I ran in and I just started doing stuff. I mean, I got a coach and I studied, but it wasn't a very good coach, not like Miss Joanna. And so I went in, I went looking for property. I found like 10 properties, and then narrowed my search to see what was a good deal and what might not be a good deal. And then jumped in, and I made some money off of it. I made a lot of money off of it, but because I didn't understand money, I didn't understand finance, I didn't understand how to strategically put a plan together for fail safes in case something went wrong. And so 2008 happened, and that was the economy, right? I didn't have any control over what the economy was going to do, but I could have had control over my economy had I understood money better. And so really taking the time to study finance, which is part of what we teach, is how to really understand money. And it was years, like I messed that all up, and then I started to fix it again, and then I went in and jumped into another thing and made a bunch of money doing that. And then I had my steady business doing what I've been doing, multiple six figures. But if you spend everything that you make, then does it matter how much you make? And so that's like a big thing right there to understand. There's doctors and people that have never been taught about money. And so they spend everything that they have. And so that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about
Right.
residual income.
Right. Right. So it doesn't matter if you don't have money or you do have money. What matters is what are you going to do with those situations, right?
Mhm.
And so the number one currency there, the first currency there is money. And how do you leverage it? So if you don't have money, you could actually go leverage somebody else's money, right? And we do that all the time by getting loans from the bank. That's the very first way. Borrowing from our friends and family. A lot of us do that, right? Which is a big no-no. Don't do that. So business plans is more the how I train my clients to know like how to partner with somebody and leverage. So in actually, I'll save this to the end, how we leverage all four currencies in an LLC for a real estate transaction. So that's your little bonus cupcake at the end. The next currency is time. Time is definitely a currency, and it's actually something you cannot generate more of, like you can money. You can always make more money, but you cannot make more time. And so I was just talking to Becky about this, saying, we have an 8-hour workday, right? That we're trying to get A, B, and C done. And if you have um, four people working underneath you, right? Now you have more hours, in that 8-hour period because you have four people working, getting, four times the work done. That's a way to leverage your time. It's actually a way to leverage your money as well. Um, but time is the biggest thing that most of us are either distracted by. We have ADHD and we're just like all over the place. It's all the time. It is all the time, and I don't think anyone's really void of it. I'm like, I think they just decided to, you know, uh, the world is like labeled, and there's drugs for every little blink of an eye that you have out there. So we actually really need to take control of our time. Any way you could do it is great. And I teach in the 15-minute calendars so that you are getting a whole bunch done in 15 minutes,
Yeah.
right? And people go, oh my God, 15 minutes, like that's. Uh, so if you had something to do for an hour, you just take four of them, right? Like it's pretty simple. But I have a whole thing on how to get more stuff done in less time because it's managed and it's linear, right? It's focused energy. Uh, so time is a great asset to have. So some people don't have time, and some people do have time, right? So, and in real estate, we tend to choose because we have a lot of time. We start with wholesale because we have no money, right? Which you don't have to. That's what I teach my clients. Um, you don't need money to do real estate investing, but that's another story. Uh, so people that do have time or that don't have time, are sitting there going, well, how do I get to this next level if I don't have time of my own to make it happen? Because we all think if it's going to happen, if it's to be, it's up to me, is the old saying, right? And we got to do it all ourselves.
Mhm.
And that's just a broke mindset. That is a broke mindset. You might as well think like your pockets are empty and you have nothing, because that's the mindset that you're putting forth. So, as entrepreneurs, and it's not an easy world to be an entrepreneur. So, Becky and I, we go rounds and rounds of, leveraging each one of these currencies and how do we get to the next level without taking away from what we already do, right? So,
Mhm.
time is a big thing for us. And we always are looking for the best avenue to leverage our time that we have. And we also bring that into our coaching for our clients. And speaking of which, that brings me into the next one, which is knowledge, right? So our clients come to us to leverage our knowledge,
Mhm.
right? So any feedback on what I've covered so far, Becky? I can go on for days talking about this, but I want to be structured for the podcast for our listeners. What do you think?
For sure. Yeah. So I really like, how is it that you put it about books? Um, like if
Suck
you
the
read a book,
brains out
yeah,
of
you suck the
knowledgeable
brain.
people.
Yes. You suck the brains out of knowledgeable people. But however, like setting up a system, a strategy of somebody that has more knowledge than you in a subject. That's why there's
Hmm.
bajillion coaches all around, because they're like, hey, we learned this, and this. And so now we want to put that out into the world. And so I think of it like the Cliff Notes version. So you get the Cliff Notes version of credit and how to put the strategy together, because you get our brains. And so we have already thought through a million different scenarios, and we know like, hey, this is what you want and this is how you get there. And the same thing
Yeah.
with real estate investing. This is what you like. This is how you get there. And so so knowledge definitely is a huge thing. And I love our mentors, Orrin Woodward and Chris Brady, always talk about standing on the shoulders of giants. And so they're so amazing. And so that's why we study under them and study under them all the time. And so even some of the other people, it's association of who you
Mhm.
associate with is huge, of what you talk about every day, all day. And so just be careful what you're telling yourself every day. And so that's just part of your knowledge right there. And so um, I think really the time, the money, the knowledge currency, and then the fourth one is relationships and building good teams.
Well,
And
you just
so,
touched on it a minute ago, though, as part of the knowledge.
mhm.
Um, in building that relationship to get the knowledge from your coaches
Very
and
good.
whomever, right?
I love it.
So I want to make sure that people are listening into that is you can. So here's what happens when people join my retire mastermind. They come to me because they have this huge wall of jigsaw puzzles to choose from. And they're like, "Oh, how do I even put it together?" Right. So they're leveraging my knowledge, my experience on how to implement that. Like that jigsaw puzzle piece is not going to fit with this jigsaw puzzle piece. And
Mhm,
I think that is the simplest way to really explain what Becky and I do is we make that wall of jigsaw puzzles like this big,
mhm.
and this is what
Yeah.
applies to you. Like it's just a couple of inch uh,
Mhm,
square here. If you're just listening to the audio, it's just like it's totally narrowed down for you. And that is a huge. People pay for speed all the time. I want to get there. I just want to know the Cliff Notes version, right?
mhm. Yeah,
So
like I don't need to know all of that other stuff. Like like as far as my field goes, I've been studying it for the last 10, 10, 15 years. So yeah, I've got a lot of knowledge
but
um
how many clients,
at
right? It's not even
stake.
just your knowledge. This is like thousands and thousands of clients and their experience in going through it and strategizing with them that you've done
Mhm,
that really makes the difference. It's not
mhm.
just something you learned in a book, right?
No,
Uh, you
no.
actually applied it yourself and you have helped thousands upon thousands to implement and are
Mhm.
successful at it.
True.
So
But the
that is a huge
so I like being
deal.
able to cut through the noise.
Cut through the noise. I love that.
And that's
Cut
and
through the
that's
noise.
that whole what she said, so ADD. It's not really ADD, it's that in our society today, things are going so fast and everybody's trying to get things to go even faster and even faster. And so it's so distracting. There every 2 seconds you can be distracted by something on your phone for sure, because there's so many fun things to do. And so but increasing your knowledge will get you your time, and it will get you money, and will
Mhm.
get you freedom. And so our goal with people truly is that Trinity concept, and in finance, that's where it starts. And that's why we wanted to talk about this today anyway, because if you understand money and how it works, then you think of it as energy. And so I was listening to some podcasts from some of my favorite people this week, and they really do talk about finance, and they talk about how billionaires and millionaires think of finance as energy. And so where are they going to put their energy to make it grow? And so they're not
Mhm.
thinking about us 95 percenters at times that think about, well, what am I going to do? I need to figure this out. What's my tax strategy? What's this? What's that? No, they're thinking about how are they going to grow their money so that they can leverage their energy towards things that would really help society. Some people, that's what they
Yeah,
think about with their money.
that's
People
awesome.
that we want to emulate. That's how they think about it. How can we make a bigger impact in the world? And so that's why our tagline is saving America one family at a time. And so
Yeah.
if we can truly get down to the granular, the basics, right? What do you want to do with your life? How do you want to get started? Like our workbook that we work out of with the financial fitness course is really simple. And it's so simple to do, and it's so simple not to do. It's so simple to
Mhm.
do, and it's so simple not to implement and transform your life with it. And that's the part that I was stuck on. It took me a year just studying that over and over again just to start getting into thought process of action with it. So if I'm struggling with it, it's kind of sometimes it's harder for my clients to get started with it, but the point is to start and to get
Yeah.
into action. And so I
Each
love that.
action creates the reaction, and then that's that next step, right?
Mhm.
So powerful. Uh, yeah, go ahead. You were gonna.
Oh, I was just going to say, you and I do a class every Wednesday via Zoom. For anybody that wants to join into that, say like, sign me up and raise your hand, and let's get you set up on that so that you can start paying attention to your money stuff too. So yeah, I was just
I
going
just
to
had
throw
to
that
sneeze.
in.
Uh, I love live podcasting.
Mhm.
You get to sneeze in the middle of it. Anyway, so I just want to uh, close up here with relationship as the fourth currency,
Mhm.
and how Becky and I leverage our relationship and relationships, right? It's not just us, it is multiple people. And in the community that we're in, so I could go on for days. Like I'm trying to pick a story out of the sky real quick, but when someone's having a hard time, like the whole community comes together. And
I can
that's the
think of a
basic, most
story.
basic way I can say it without getting into like 50 stories that I really want to.
Mhm.
You have a short one that, we can get the
I do.
podcasters to, okay.
Yeah, for sure. I've been going through a few things with my family. And so one of our members that is one of my really, really good friends, Miss Sandy, she said, well, what can I do to help? And I said, I need a hug. And so she flew from Florida to give me a hug and to serve me, and stayed here for a couple of days just because I was struggling with things. That is one tiny example. And like she said,
Yeah.
there's like 50 stories. And so we love the community that we're a part of because everybody's just here to serve others and lift everybody up always. And so that's so much fun because then that pours into us so that we're able to go out into the world and give back to other people too.
Yeah. Zig Ziglar says his big quote is uh, the more you help others, right?
Mhm.
The more you help others, the more you receive,
Mhm.
right? If you help enough people get what they want, you'll get everything that you need.
Mhm.
That's his quote. And
Yep.
I can't say it enough. And God bless that man for doing everything he did. There's so many quotes that I can quote from Zig Ziglar. I have his big book of quotes here.
Oh, that's
I
so
do a lot
cute.
of, yeah, I do a lot of his quotes because I just think he's freaking amazing. And so many entrepreneurs and companies, and they go for, they have a lot of his philosophies, successful ones, anyways, because he was just super, super powerful. And so, just a recap of the four currencies, whether you have them or you don't, right? It's all about leverage. So don't say, "Oh, well, I don't have money, so I can't do whatever." Right? Or I don't have that kind of relationship to be able to pull something off.
Mhm.
Or I don't have the time. Like get out of the broke mindset and go, how do I get the time? How do I get the knowledge? How do I get the money?
Mhm.
And how do I build the relationship?
Mhm.
Right? those are currencies that will get you everywhere in life, everywhere. So I say this in closing that debt is killing us. We have to make a plan for America to escape it because our government's doing a very poor job of it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why we've taken upon the Trinity podcast, our Trinity company, to be able to train and are in the financial fitness, in the real estate investing, and the business and personal credit, because the magic things that
Mm-hmm.
make all of this your own economy,
Mm.
right? All of this your own economy, not relying on the government whatsoever or a job.
There you
Anything
go.
you want to
Yeah.
conclude with, Beck?
Yeah, sometimes I think people get in their heads a little bit about that. And so it's like, oh, well, I make this much money and I have this many bills, and that's that, you know? And so I think what I love is that even whatever money you are making, like I can show you how to make it work for you even better. And so can Joanna. And so, and how do we leverage the other stuff, right? Your credit. How do we leverage all of those things? And so I would say, if I was going to say anything, our goal is to be like the Trojan horse, the Trojan horse story.
Mm,
Our goal is to be like that Trojan horse, and we're going to come in and we're going to teach America finance and money and how to leverage all those wealthy systems. And so then we won't need debt ever again. And so that we get a third of our money back, because if a third of your money is being spent on taxes and a third of your money is being spent on debt, you're living off a third of your money. But the price of everything keeps going up. You're living on less than a third of your money. And so we actually have answers to bring down the price of everything that you're spending money on. We have an answer so that you don't have to pay as much in taxes, that we can take your tax money and put it towards something that is productive in your life. And so that's why Joanna geeks out on tax law, so that we can be knowledgeable in that, and how we take what you do have, because you do have assets already. And then we show you how to just utilize what you already have in your own backyard and make it better. So that's my parting shot.
drop the mic. Well said. Well said. How to keep more of the money you make. That's where it's at. Like, why wouldn't you want to keep more of the money you make? How to leverage all of these four currencies. So we leave you with this, and we'll see you on the next podcast.